Hello and welcome to Talk IT with us. In this episode, we will talk to project manager Michel Nganzi Mukando. We talked about project management methodologies, the distinction between waterfall and agile approach, and how we adapt project management skills in our personal lives without knowing it. Michel also told us about his latest workshop at Perspective Women in Tech Summit 2020. Hi Michel, how are you today?
Yeah, hi Victor, I'm good. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. It's the new year,
Welcome.
so hopefully it's going to be better year than maybe the last one.
Yeah, hopefully,
Yeah,
I hope so. With the vaccine they just discovered, most probably it's going to be better than 2020.
yeah, definitely. Okay,
Good.
so today's topic is project management that
Yep.
you're the expert of. uh, so what are project management methodologies and why do we use them?
Well, a project management methodology is a set of techniques and practice used by an organization or a project team to effectively manage a project and increase the chances of meeting the goal or the objective. And we use them to define how the work and the communication will be, as this is critical to the team's ability to successfully deliver projects on time and on budget.
Mhm. And I did some research, so I know there are many of project management methodology. How do
Yeah.
you choose a project management methodology?
Well, the key factor to take in consideration while choosing a project management methodology is the type of project or process that you manage. So, and then you should consider two important things. The first things, um, the first thing is several internal, external factors can affect the success of your selection and will in turn be affected by your selection. So, before making your decision, be sure you've answered few questions. I'm going just to maybe list few questions you need to answer before you make a choice.
Mhm.
So you need to know, how is your company structured? What are your company's objectives?
Mhm.
What are the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats in your business? Who are your primary customer? How complex is the project? What is the size and cost of the project, etc. Right?
Mhm.
And the second thing is a process should be put in place for assessing each methodology to ensure that it best fits your needs. So it means after evaluating the factor that I've just mentioned, the next step is to develop a process to identify all the projects, specific drivers, so you can zero in on the best choice. And the drivers includes stakeholder needs and desired goals, deliverables, timeline, quality aspects, and budget limitation.
Mhm.
So remember that each methodology is intended to address a specific goal, or let's say specific goals like quality, efficiency, cost reduction, waste reduction, etc. So it's critical to match the methodology with your project goals.
Mhm. Mhm. As you mentioned, the goal of the project and
Yeah.
the finance of the project, the budget. What would you say is more important in terms of choosing the right methodology?
Yeah, I mean, all of them are very important. All of them are very important. You have to take all of them into consideration while
Mhm.
choosing a methodology. All of them are part of the project. There are elements that you need to analyze before making the choice. So all of them are important. You
Mhm.
cannot take one and leave the other one. Yeah.
What's the methodology that you use the most?
Oh, in most of the companies I've been working for, I've been using Waterfall. Yeah, a bit of Agile, but
Mhm.
Waterfall is the one I most used.
Yeah, yeah. Why is it? Why is it so popular, the waterfall methodology in project management?
Well, yeah, I mean, Waterfall is simply the
Mhm.
oldest, and it's so-called the traditional and time-proven project management, right? And it was first introduced by Dr. Winston Royce in a paper published in 1970 as a response to managing the increasingly complex natural software development. And since it has become widely adopted and most prominently in the software and construction industries.
Mhm.
So, yeah, however, the introduction of new methodologies such as Agile or Kanban and light waterfall methodology diving in popularity, but it's still popular nowadays.
Would you say that the age of the waterfall methodology can be the disadvantage of it?
Yes, yes, exactly. I can say that it's and also, yeah, in uh, some kind of project as well. You really need to use the waterfall method because it suits best some kind of project. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for example, as I said, it's really popular in the construction industry, for example. Yeah, so those are the projects where waterfall can be used, and yeah, it's because it's older. That's fine. That's a good reason, but also because it fits well or it suits well some type of project, or let's say most of the project, I would say. Right?
Mm-hmm. Are there any more disadvantages of waterfall?
Disadvantage, yes, they are. Yes, they are. As each methodology, right? Each methodology has weaknesses and, or let's say, has benefits and has also disadvantages, or let's say challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, waterfall, yes, they are. So, first of all, they make change difficult. So, why? Waterfall is based entirely on following a set of steps that keep teams always moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So the methodology in its traditional form leaves almost no room for unexpected change or revisions.
Okay.
And the second point, we have the higher risks of a project to fail. Why? Because the rigidity, let's say, of this methodology means that if you find an error and need to change something, you have to essentially start all over the project, start the project from the beginning,
Okay,
right?
so it's not
So
as flexible.
yeah, it's not that flexible. So this increases the risk of project failure.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one, I can say it's also front heavy. That means that the entire waterfall approach depends heavily on your understanding and analyzing requirements correctly. Should you fail to do that, or should the requirement change, you have to start over, right?
Mm-hmm.
This lack of flexibility makes it poor choice for, let's say, long and complex projects.
Yeah, so it takes the project much longer if there is some unexpected issue. I understand that.
Yep.
Going back to picking the right methodology, as you mentioned, there are key factors that we need to take into consideration. What, in your opinion, from your experience, what is the most challenging part of picking the right methodology? Is it the answering the questions that you mentioned at the beginning of our interview, or is it maybe implementing it within the team, or what it is?
Well, maybe I will surprise you, but I think the most challenging part is the choice.
Okay.
For example, after analyzing each of these methodologies, right, the strength and the weaknesses, in order to pick the right one, the one who fits your project. I mean, if it comes to happen that you end up with more than one methodology,
Mm-hmm.
that may switch well your project. You will have to pick the most suitable one. And choosing wisely is not always easy and can be a real challenge. So I'd go for the choice.
So yeah, the first step, pretty much.
Yeah.
Most challenging. Have you ever worked on a project which went off the rail, or an unexpected challenge came up, and maybe you were using the waterfall methodology and you
Yeah.
need to start it all over again? Or
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Yeah, it happened. It happened. It happened. I think, I believe it be 2 or 3 years ago. I was assigning a project that I just got a project in the middle. It's already started, right? So,
Mhm.
and the project wasn't going well at all. Wasn't going well at all. We're losing a lot of money, and the customer was not happy. And then I took that project and what I did was really to sit together with the customer, with my team. I mean, to have all the stakeholders together and try to see, I mean, what was the requirements, where we were, what was done, and what the customer was expecting, right? So based on the outcome of that meeting, it wasn't one meeting, it was maybe 2-3 meetings we had, really in order to analyze the requirements and see where we were and what was delivered and what the customer was expecting. I had to rebaseline the project, right? Rebaseline the requirements, get the customer agreement, get the commitments, put in place some process for the change, and define. I mean, agree on the goal, on the final product how it's going to be delivered, and rebaseline the planning and so on, and get the customer get all the stakeholders approve that so that we could move on. Even though it wasn't easy, even after that, it was still a very challenging project. But at the end, yeah, I think we're happy because we delivered what was expected. Yeah, but it's not always easy. And as you're mentioning, just we're speaking about project methodology. So that project was, we use Waterfall. But in my lesson learned, I advised for that type of project next time to apply Agile, because I think Agile methodology was more suitable for that kind of project than Waterfall, and that's why it led to all that, that misunderstanding and dissatisfaction and a lot of problems with that project.
Where did you realize that Agile would be more suited methodology than Waterfall? Was it after the project or during the change, or when was it?
Yeah, I think it was when I discussed with the customer, when we did the rebaseline of the requirements. Because basically, I found out that the customer himself didn't know what he wanted, right? So we sold him something, he said yes, but at the end, he didn't really know how it was going to work. And then he started discovering as we move forward, we provide him something. Let's say we provide a product, he wasn't happy about it, you know. So every time we're providing that final product, he was not happy about it. So he sent it back because it was not, let's say, answering to his requirement, or meeting his requirement, or really answer to his needs. So that's why, I mean, after the rebaseline, I just discovered that as the requirements were not clear, Agile methodology could switch with that type of project. Because with Waterfall, the requirements must be crystal clear. You must know what you need to produce. You already know your product. You know what you're going to deliver, and then you start working about. When the requirements are not clear, you don't know what the customer expects, or you don't know what the final product will be, it's better to use Agile methodology.
What is a scope creep?
Oh, a scope creep. The PMI defines a scope creep as the uncontrolled expansion to product or project scope without adjustment to time, cost, and resources. So basically, changes to product or project without control. That's a scope creep. And how to handle it? So it's really important to define the scope up front and agree on it with stakeholders. Put in place a change control process, because change in a project will always happen or can always happen. So you have to put in place a change control process and log those changes, right? To document them, to evaluate them, and get them approved before you move on. And if a change is approved in the project, then rebaseline the project. It's very important. That means to rebaseline the schedule, the plan, maybe the scope as well. And the last advice would be to avoid traps.
How can you avoid traps?
Why? By analyzing. You know, I will give you an example. You know, when you're doing a project, the customer or any stakeholder, right, may come with an idea. Oh, let's do this. It will not take long. It's going to just take you maybe a few hours. Let's add this in the scope. It's just a small thing. It's not big. No, you need really to analyze that and take a decision based on the analysis you do with your team and evaluate the consequences, right? Because yeah, those small traps, if you accept them in the project, it can be a very small thing, but then it can be time consuming and then lead to other consequences that you didn't foresee.
In terms of the project management and project manager, if you were to pick one skill that is the most important for a project manager to have, what would you pick and why?
Oh, that would be very easy because, you know, the Project Management Institute, PMI, suggests that project managers should spend 90% of their time communicating. So surely there are quite a few skills a project manager must have, but if I'd have to pick one, I'll go for good communication.
Okay.
And leadership, yeah, and leadership as well. Both skills typically go hand in hand, I would say. Yeah, so good communication and leadership.
And we can see that you are a good communicator. Is there, were you attending any courses?
No, no, not really.
You're
In the
just
past, yes,
natural.
yeah. I mean, in the past, I speak a lot. I know I speak a lot. Yeah, but in the past, yes, I attended some course about communication. But I think it's mainly my job. It's mainly my job, being a project manager, communicating every day. That influence, right? That influenced my life as well and my way of thinking. That's why you can see that I'm trying to, improve my communication and communicate better and better.
Yeah, well, personally, I think it's great. And when you were talking about personal life, do you use your project management skills? Okay, we talked about the communication, but maybe other management skills outside of the office.
Oh yes, I definitely do. Yes, I definitely do. Let's say, a project is a set of activities bound to a timeline with a specific cost, with the objective to deliver a unique solution or a unique product. So the pillars of project management are obvious in the definition, time, budget, and scope. So any activities that is time bound can be dealt with as a project, irrespective of how big or small it is. So, for example, a wedding or going somewhere on vacation or organizing a party, for example, are all projects, right? So they all require planning. So I do the planning. They are limited in time, have a cost, and have a deliverables or objectives, right? So in my daily life, if I have to face this kind of it's already happened. It's already happened in my life to organize a wedding or something like that. So I had to apply the project management skills. So I consider some of my daily personal activities as projects, and then apply fundamentals of project management to enable me to measure as well the success in my life.
Well, when you were talking about those points from the project manager, which is the budget, time limitation, objectives, etc. That's pretty much life in general, isn't it?
Yep, it is. Yeah, it is. I think in our daily life, it's all about budgets. It's all about planning. Yeah, it's all about we have goals as well. We have goals, so we always have a scope, and we are limited in time as we human, right? So yeah, everything we do is limited in time because we just one day. We have in a year we have 365. I think 365 days.
Yes.
We get born one day, we die one day, so we're all limited in time. So everything we do, we have a goal, and it's limited in time, and we also need some time to invest money. So we have to deal with the budget. So it's really, many people do project management in their life, but without really knowing that or applying specific skills. But all of us, every one of us apply project management skills at some extent, and in his daily life.
Awesome. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Last year in December, you attended with NATEK Perspective Women in Tech Summit. And I know that you had a presentation. And how was the experience?
It was very great. First of all, I have to say I was very honored to be one of the person that was chosen to present something. So I had my presentation over there, and it was my first experience in that meeting, and I really enjoyed it very much. I really appreciate it very much, and I really thank NATEK for giving me that opportunity.
Preparing for the Perspective Women in Tech Summit 2020, so last year, that also takes some managerial skills and steps that the team had to implement it. And yeah, Michel, I thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Thank you too. And I wanted to say special thanks to Anna Dida. Yeah, she's the one really who helped me a lot in preparing the presentation, and also allow me, I mean, to be a part of this, part of the events. So I really wanted to thank her for her trust and for support, and hopefully even this year, if there'll be the event again, we could be collaborating together in order to bring something else to show to the audience. Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you, Victor, for this time and for this podcast, let's say. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I would like to thank to our listeners. If you are interested in NATEK, please go to natek.eu or our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we are on it. My name is Victor, and I hear you on the next episode of Tall Guy TV Does.